Hare Krishna.
You
Thank
can
you.
start with this.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Нараянам намаскритя нарам чаванародам девим срасватим весам титоджиям аджарият Шринвата Свакатха Кришна Пуня Шравна Киртана Хридинта Слохия Патрани Видноджи Сурсватам. Нашта Преша Бхадри Шунитам Pavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashlikya Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki. We will be reading today Canto 4, Chapter 12, text 44 to 46. Text 44. Maitreya Uvacha Etati Abhitam Sarvam Ya Krishtoham Ihatvaya Druvasyo Dhamma Yashasa Charitam Samatam Satam. Maitreya Uvacha, the great sage Maitreya said, Etat this te unto you Abhitam described Sarvam everything, Yat what Krishta Aham I was asked, Iha here Tvaya by you, Druvasya of Dhruva Maharaja, Udama greatly uplifting, Yashasa whose reputation, Charitam character, Samatam approved, Satam by great devotees. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace is Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, My dear Vidura, whatever you have asked from me about the great reputation and character of Dhruva Maharaja, I have explained to you in all detail. Great saintly persons and devotees very much like to hear about Dhruva Maharaja. Purport. Srimad Bhagavatam means everything in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whether we hear the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord, or we hear about the character, reputation, and activities of his devotees, they are all one and the same. Neophyte devotees simply try to understand the pastimes of the Lord and are not very interested in hearing about the activities of his devotees, but such discrimination should not be indulged in by any real devotee. Sometimes less intelligent men try to hear about the rasa dance of Krishna and do not take care to hear about other portions of Srimad Bhagavatam, which they completely avoid. There are professional Bhagavatam reciters who abruptly go to the Rasa Lila chapters of Srimad Bhagavatam as if other portions of Srimad Bhagavatam were useless. This kind of discrimination and abrupt adoption of the Rasa Lila pastimes of the Lord is not approved by the Acharyas. A sincere devotee should read every chapter and every word of Srimad Bhagavatam, for the beginning verses describe that it is the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature. Devotees should not try to avoid even a word of Srimad Bhagavatam. The great sage Maitreya therefore affirmed herein that the Bhagavatam is Samatam Satam approved by great devotees. Text 45. Dhanyam Yashasyam Ayusham Punyam Swastya Ayanam Mahat Svargyam Dravyam Samanasyam Prashasyam Agam Marshanam. Dhanyam bestowing wealth, Yashasyam bestowing reputation, Ayushyam increasing the duration of life, Punyam sacred, Swasti Anam creating auspiciousness, Mahad great, Svargyam bestowing achievement of heavenly things, Dravyam of Druvaloka, Sumanasyam pleasing to the mind, Prashasyam glorious, Aga Marshanam contracting all kinds of sinful activities. Translation. By hearing the narration of Dhruva Maharaja, one can fulfill desires for wealth, reputation, and increased duration of life. It is so auspicious that one can even go to a heavenly planet or attain Dhruva Loka, which was achieved by Dhruva Maharaja, just by hearing about him. The demigods also become pleased because this narration is so glorious and it is so powerful that it can counteract all the results of one's sinful activities. Purport. There are different types of men in this world, not all of them pure devotees. Some are karmis desiring to acquire vast wealth. There are also persons who are only after reputation. Some desire to be elevated to the heavenly planets or to go to Dhruvaloka, and others want to please the demigods to get material profits. Herein, it is recommended by Maitreya that every one of them can hear the narration about Dhruva Maharaja and thus get the desired goal. It is recommended that the devotees Akama, the Karmis, Sarvakama, and the Jnanis who desire to be liberated, Moksha Kama, should all worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead to acquire their desired goals of life. Similarly, if anyone hears about the activities of the Lord's devotee, he can achieve the same result. There is no difference between the activities and character of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and those of his pure devotees. Text 46. Shritvajag Shradabhikshnam Achyuta Priya Cheshtam Bhavyat Bhaktir Bhagavati Yasyat Klesha Sankshya. Shrutva by hearing, at this, Shradaya with faith, Abhikshnam repeatedly, Achyuta to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Priya, dear, Cheshtam activities, Bhavyat develops, Bhakti devotion, Bhagavati unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yaya by which Syat must be, Klesha of miseries, Sankshya complete diminution. Translation. Anyone who hears the narration of Dhruva Maharaja and who repeatedly tries with faith and devotion to understand his pure character attains the pure devotional platform and executes pure devotional service. By such activities, one can diminish the threefold miserable conditions of material life. Purport. Here, the word Achyuta Priya is very significant. Dhruva Maharaja's character and reputation are great because he is very dear to Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the pastimes and activities of the Supreme Lord are pleasing to hearing about his devotees, who are very dear to the Supreme Person, is also pleasing and potent. If one simply reads over and over again about Dhruva Maharaja by hearing and reading this chapter, one can attain the highest perfection of life in any way he desires. Most importantly, he gets the chance to become a great devotee. To become a great devotee means to finish all miserable conditions of materialistic life. Om Gyanatramandasya Ninanjnashalagya Chakshran Taminantas Mesh Kurvinamha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Patalisha Mats Bhatsvinat Swami Namaste Sarasvati Dekurvan Prachirani Rishashana Prachitya Shtarni Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Hare. I humbly bow down and seek blessings from all the assembled Vaishnavas, and thank you for the opportunity to read Srimad Bhagavatam for my own purification. I have selected a few points to summarize from lectures from Parampara. We are reading chapter 12 called Dhruva Maharaja Goes Back to Godhead. Reading text 44 today, we saw that Srimad Bhagavatam is approved by great devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam has the transcendental wisdom. Vedas exist eternally. They manifest from the breathing of the Supreme Lord. In glorification to Srimad Bhagavatam, one of them is, O Srimad Bhagavatam, you take a person who is a sadhu, who is impure, and you make him a real sadhu. And you take a lowest person and you make him a greatest person. By simply association with Srimad Bhagavatam, a degraded person transforms into a great saint. Srila Prabhupada explains that to live in the forest is the mode of goodness, to live in the city is the mode of passion. To live in those places where is intoxication, gambling, meat eating, those places are in mode of ignorance. But the temple of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, where devotees are gathered together to hear the glories of the Lord, or to chant the holy names of the Lord, that place is Vaikuntha. It is above and beyond of the modes of material nature, and what we associate with, we naturally take those qualities. Where we go, we become like that place, because we are easily influenced by our environment. The consciousness of every living entity is very much becomes what he associates with. If a person is surrounded by humble and sincere devotees, anxious to hear about the Lord, anxious to chant his names, he is in Vaikuntha. This atmosphere is the spiritual world. Dhruva Maharaj is famous for being a wonderful devotee who, even despite all material desires, with all enthusiasm, worshiped the Supreme Personality of Godhead and got his favor. beautiful example for us who also have material desires. We may want to indulge those desires, but we want to be reasonable with them. We may even pursue those desires, but we need to engage them in Krishna's service and be successful. This is the lesson of Dhruva Maharaj. Great devotees are very fond of the story of Dhruva Maharaj and take out time from the remembrance of pastimes of Radha and Krishna to also remember the pastimes of great devotees like Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj. Srila Prabhupada warns in the purport about the deviation of ignoring such histories as this because they are very instructive, which are built in program instructions of Bhagavatam to elevate us. Srila Prabhupada translates that this story is greatly uplifting for us. As long as we have selfish motivations, we cannot be elevated to a spiritual world. And even if we are in a place which is the spiritual world, we cannot genuinely appreciate it. Therefore, this selfless desire to serve others for their real welfare is true principle of Dharma. In text 45, we have read that the story of Dhruva Maharaj is so glorious. By hearing this narration, one acquired desired goal. They get the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Spiritually poor people are getting saved by hearing this narration. Most people don't know that there is something beyond this body. They only see the desires of the body. Pure devotees preach the path of devotional service, become favorites of the devas. Many people are interested in worshipping the demigods and especially Lord Shiva in order to obtain material benefits. But the pure devotee who is engaged in preaching the devotional service is described in Srimad Bhagavatam as one who does not worship separately demigods. The demigods are automatically pleased with him and give blessings for their capacity. When a devotee waters the root of the tree, the leaves and branches are automatically watered. By executing pure devotional service to the Lord, all demigods are pleased with him and offer all benedictions. In text 46, we have read that one who tries to understand pure character of Dhruva Maharaj, who is very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, attains pure devotional platform. It's extremely rare for one to have spiritual desires. People come to Krishna for different reasons. Maybe 1 in a million come to Krishna with the right motive. Some people come looking for relief of distress. Many religions in the world preaching the happiness of liberation. They are preaching that one can go to heavenly planets and enjoy. And those motives can drive us for some time. What is the difference between preaching in Krishna consciousness and in other religions is that we are saying that love of God and pure devotional service is the highest goal, where other religion systems are teaching that heaven is the highest goal, or that salvation is the highest goal. The difference is in our goal. Dhruva, like many of our motives, wanted to be happy, and the good thing was that he went to Krishna for his happiness. He said, I'm going just worship Krishna. And we see in Dhruva's journey, a journey of average person from materialist to a self-realized person. And once one studies this, and here it is said that one should repeatedly study this with faith and devotion and try to understand, not blindly. Srila Prabhupada says that blind faith is condemned. One should try to understand very deeply all the aspects of this story of Dhruva Maharaj. Here we are in this part of the chapter where we are given the benedictions from hearing this story. Interestingly, that from some stories in Srimad Bhagavatam, no benedictions are given at all, and sometimes it is very brief, such as if you hear the story, you are freed from all sins. But we find in the story of Dhruva Maharaj, there is one verse after another, one after another, telling us what benedictions we will get from this story. In text 45, we have read that one can increase duration of life, go to heavenly planets. In text 46, we have read that one can finish all material miseries, and Srila Prabhupada says interesting things in purport. One can attain the highest perfection of life in any way he desires. Whatever I think is perfection, I can achieve that through studying about Dhruva Maharaj. Studying about Dhruva Maharaj gives even qualification of being happy in material life. Krishna gives material happiness to anyone who follows the rules of the universe. But Srila Bhagavatam says that most importantly, it gives you a chance to become a great devotee. We must work to be recognized by Krishna. If we don't work to be recognized by Krishna, our life is the waste of time. We should want to be such a devotee that Krishna will call us to see him. As Srila Prabhupada is saying that we shouldn't try to see Krishna, cultivating, demanding mood. I want to see Krishna. I am doing so much service. I'm doing so much surrender. When I'm going to see Krishna? But we should work in such a way that Krishna will want to see me. The mood of the devotee is when Krishna is going to be pleased with my service. Everything we are doing because we are trying to please somebody, hoping that they will notice. This is a natural desire. Working at the company, we are hoping to hear from the leader and other co-workers, I really like the work you are doing. Thank you very much. Being a great devotee means that we get a message, okay, come into my office. And Krishna says, thank you very much. We are desiring that the devotees, Guru, Krishna, look at what we are doing, and they say, well done, good and faithful servant. That is the kind of greatness that we are looking for. People want to be recognized. This is the key of people being happy in what they do, being recognized. Often in Krishna movement, people think that recognition is bad. I shouldn't want recognition. I shouldn't work for recognition. But Srila Prabhupada says if we are not working for Krishna to recognize us, our whole life is condemned. Useless life. We should want to be recognized, but we shouldn't want to be recognized in a worldly sense, that people are saying, you are so clever, you are so this or that, thinking I'm the doer. But we want to be recognized by reciprocation of love. We should desire to be that kind of a great devotee. Scripture didn't tell us if you hear the story of Dhruva Maharaj, you will be a totally surrendered soul, you will be a selfless servant without any material desires, just giving everything to God. To a conditioned soul, that doesn't sound very attractive and interesting. It sounds pretty scary, and they get afraid. If that is what is given as a benediction in the scripture, we will probably not do it. It probably will not interest many of people. The scripture is saying if you are taking to this process, you will become happy and you will become liberated. And then people think, yes, they are interested in this. This is something that they want. Why becoming a great devotee, which means Krishna will recognize you, will give one liberation. To become a great devotee means to finish all miserable condition of material life. What are material miseries? There is something that is happening to the body and the mind. We are all souls. We are not body and mind. We are observers. Krishna talks about this in 5th and 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that we are not doing things. While I'm drinking the water, I'm not drinking it. The body is doing it. I'm watching it. I'm watching and desiring. If one gets cold, that is misery of the body. It doesn't touching the soul. If one stops identifying with the body, he will no longer feel the miseries of the body. They situate their mind in detached way. One can get into the state of relaxation and meditate on deities. In one's mind, focused on deities, he can feel what's happening in the body, but it's just observation, not feeling pain. This could help in understanding what does it mean to be free from material miseries. When you're free from material miseries, you notice them, but you don't feel them as miseries because your consciousness is someplace else. We have this experience when we drive a car. If car low on petrol, we notice car low on petrol, but we don't feel pain in our own body. I don't feel hunger. The car's hunger is not my hunger. It's just, oh, it's interesting. I have to go to the petrol station and put petrol in the car. But there is no sense of misery. This is the way to get free from material misery. It's not that by performing devotional service and being recognized by Krishna that all the miseries will go away in some material sense. Maybe Krishna will give you a perfect life, maybe not. But the way one gets free from material miseries is one is getting one's happiness from something else. Only due to attachment we feel misery for one and not for another. In reality, there is no birth, no death, no disease, no old age. There is no pain. That's reality. And therefore, I am not feeling material miseries. Sometimes one is so absorbed in spiritual that they don't even notice the bodily miseries. And it says that Krishna just takes care of the body. This is the only way to get away from miseries, is to get attached to the absolute truth. The same attachment that now we have for the body, for the mind, for the car, for the home, for our clothes, the same attachment we get for Krishna. We think how wonderful Krishna is. Dhruva came to him for money and he gave him all spiritual knowledge. And how wonderful the devotees like Dhruva are, who have seen the Lord face to face. And as we think like that, Krishna becomes so happy. Oh, you are hearing about me. You want to know about me. And he reveals himself to us. He recognizes us. He calls us to him. And then we become absorbed in reality. We see Krishna everywhere. We remember Krishna all the time. I'll stop here. Panchakalpas Rupescha Kripa Sindhu Vyavacha